Hi, my name is Carlos Cabral, and in this example, we're going to be showing how to work with paginated APIs using application integration. Let's do it. Paginated APIs are quite useful when we have a lot of data to return. So here in my example, I have an orders API that is returning 10 products at once, but of course I have much more data. And then as a client, we can manipulate, how many products we want to retrieve and what page sizes and page tokens I'm going to be using. So if I use a next page token of 10 and a page size of 50, I'm going to fetch the next 50 products here from this API. So starting at 10, down the way to 60. So in this integration, everything starts here at the API trigger and really no input values. Immediately, the API trigger is now going to start what we call a while loop. Whenever we need to configure a while loop, the first thing we need to do is to say, hey, what's going to be the integration that's going to process each iteration of my loop? So here I have a list of integrations, but the trick that I'm using here is that I'm actually using the very same integration that we have here in the canvas, but I'm choosing a different private trigger. So basically I'm using this trigger here to the right. So basically the flow is this, right? So I'll try to do this visually. So the flow starts here and then a loop. Then the first iteration of the loop is gonna go all the way through these 3 tasks, then back here, then again all the way through these 3 tasks, so on and so forth, until the loop condition breaks. And this is a very important thing and mandatory thing is we need to have a rule for breaking the while loop. In my example here, I'm checking the value of the variable called next page token, and until this thing is not equal right to end, this loop is gonna keep running. Another important configuration is that on each execution, we need to read and pass values into the iteration loop. So basically, every time that a new loop starts, what I basically am doing is I'm taking from this parent integration, so this left-hand side branch here, I'm taking the value of next page token, and in the loop iteration, this value is going to be passed to a variable called underscore next page token. So basically, I'm taking a value here from the outside and passing to the inside. Also, it's quite important to collect the results of all of these results from the loop. So in our example, the paginated values from the API. So I'm doing kind of the opposite. So the sub-integration or this portion here on the right, I'm taking the value of this slash partial response, and I'm all the way collecting on an array called final result, right? And again, whenever we need to run the loop again, I'm gonna take the value of the inner loop called underscore next page token. That's gonna be the next page token passed over here, and then this gets to here, and then that's the loop in terms of variables that we're gonna be doing. So that's basically the idea of the while loop in integration. So we always need to have a stop or a while loop condition, and then we manipulate the variables from the inner loop to the outside until we find a stop condition. In my example, this is quite simple. I'm just basically calling an API here, an URL, with a get method parameter, and I'm manipulating here. The page size is always, I'm gonna be fetching data in 50, and page sizes of 50, and then I'm gonna dynamically be passing the next page token that's gonna be updated, like 50, 100, 150, so on and so forth. In this data transformer task, I collect the data, I set the variables, and again, once the loop ends, I'm gonna just flatten the final result because I'm gonna have an array of arrays and I just wanna have a single array, and this is the final result. Now let's check what happened. This is the log view of application integration, and this is one of execution of our pagination execution. So basically, let's open it and see what's going on. As I said, the loop starts basically with no parameters. Then we immediately start the while loop. And look here, we can see that from this execution, we had 3 iterations within the loop, and each iteration is gonna call the rest endpoint, collect the result, right? So I'm going to be fetching partial responses of each of this data here coming from the API. And as I said before, after these 3 iterations occur over here, I'm just going to take the array of arrays and going to flatten as a single final result. So if you see over here, the final result is just an array of the 100 and so items I have in my API. That's it. Thank you very much.